Welcome back to the Pet Food Puzzle Guy. My name is Glenn, and I just want to say thank you to all the subscribers I've had recently and all the comments. Great comments from Brian in California and Christina in Canada. I think she's watched every video I've ever made, so I really do appreciate the comments and I appreciate the views. And I do hope, I like hearing feedback that it's helping people make decisions and all. That's the whole purpose of this video. I was thinking one of these days I probably should do a video on just who am I and why do I do this and what are my credentials. No, I'm not a veterinarian, all that kind of stuff. So I may do that one of these days, but it's been a couple weeks since I did a video. We had our grandkids out for all of them under one roof for about a week, and that's 8 grandkids from age 1 to 13. So it was an exhausting week to say the least, but it was pretty awesome to have them all together. That doesn't happen very often. And of course I got a cold from them, so that's what you do when you're around kids, right? So I still wanted to start doing videos again, so hopefully my voice will hold out. So this video, enough about all that other stuff. This video, I'm going full bore, and let's compare the big guys, the big three. Everybody, if you're used to watching other videos on other channels, they call us Big Pharma, the Hills, Royal Canin, and Purina, like we're all a conglomerate of evildoers out to harm dogs and cats and make lots of money in the process. And of course we have veterinarians under our thumb, and we've bought them off and blah blah blah. So I don't know if you're one of those folks, but if you've been to some of those videos and watched that stuff, it's pretty wild. And again, that's probably a separate video for me to do. But I will tell you, both those three companies have nothing to do with each other. Their philosophies are very different. Their histories are very different. But I have to admit, if you put those three together, that's where 99.9% of all the nutrition research, everything we know about canine and feline nutrition, either was done by or funded by those three companies. Some of them make, I have a bias, of course. I've shared this in a few of my videos, but I worked for Hills for 34 years as a veterinary rep. I spent every day for 34 years in vet clinics, talking to veterinarians, training them on diets, seeing the results of these diets, seeing the results of other diets out there. I was pretty passionate. Now, I won't say pretty, I was very passionate. So I always had to compare all the different diets. And I've done a couple of videos, I think, by now on a few prescription diets. And I do want to do more. I do want to do the feline arthritis and kidney disease diet that Hills has for that. But anyway, so those are the big three that I know everybody just loves to harp on and call them big kibble, kind of all that off that big pharma thing. So enough about that. Again, that may be a separate video for another time, but what about, let's just take ProPlan adult, canine adult, let's take Science Diet adult, and let's take Royal Canin's medium adult diet. Now, I was looking at Royal Canin's website, and they're big into breed-specific diets. Now, I will tell you, I haven't dug into it extremely deeply, but what I know from most veterinarians, or I should say nutritionists, it's pretty much marketing. There's really not a lot of science to it. Small breed nutrition, yes. Large breed nutrition, yes. But Cocker Spaniel and Maltese and Boxer and German Shepherd and all that, you know what that is. You know it even if you feed one of these foods. You have a German Shepherd and you buy that bag because it's got a Shepherd on the bag and it just makes you feel good. But I'm telling you, I don't think there's a whole lot of science behind it. Okay, just to throw that out there. But if it floats your boat, again, all I care about is the nutrients in the diet. If the nutrients are great, I don't care whether they want to call it Cocker Spaniel diet or medium adult diet, whatever. So let's go ahead and I guess I should explain how I evaluate diets. Many of you know from my other videos, but I know there's new people coming on all the time. Why do I focus on protein and calcium and phosphorus? It's real simple, because everybody tells you how great their ingredients are in their food. And meat protein, we have double the meat protein. We have, 85% protein from animals, blah blah blah. That they're all, we have real chicken, we don't use chicken meal, blah blah blah. That seems to be the big issue. And as I've said many times, it's all a lie. It's all manipulation. Whether it's meat meal, fresh chicken, whatever. The AFCO definitions are so vague that you really don't know what you're getting. You really don't, unless you know how to evaluate the food. So we're going to look at protein levels in these three diets. So again, I'll stick them up here because I kind of went quick. But so there's Science Diet Adult, and we're going to also do Royal Canin Medium Adult, and we're going to do ProPlan Adult. And the reason I look at protein, one, is because it's what the marketers make all you folks look at to try to decide if their food is better. And too much protein is just as bad as not enough. As a matter of fact, the government makes sure there's no deficiencies in dog food or cat food, like protein or calcium or fat or whatever, but they don't care about excesses. So why would a food use extra meat protein in their diet when, of course, meat costs money? Well, they can use cheap meat to boost their protein levels. And how do we know whether they're using excellent organ meat from human grade chicken, or whether they're using 4D meat, dead, diseased, dying, and disabled, and there's a bunch of bone and feathers and dirt and hoof and God knows what else in there? How do you know? You really can't tell from the ingredient panel, but you can look at the calcium and phosphorus levels. Those are minerals that would be produced by all that junk. So when I see low calcium phosphorus levels, I know that that company has spent good money on good pure protein sources that are very healthy for my dog or cat, because those excesses can lead to urinary stones, they can exacerbate kidney disease or hypertension. I mean, they're just unhealthy, especially as your dog and cat ages. So it's really cool. I really love doing it, and I've done it a few times now in my videos. Let's look at the protein. And again, excuse me. Again, protein, we want optimal protein. We want enough protein for all the amino acids, all those essential amino acids that the body needs. That's what we want to deliver. You look at the marketing, it's like, oh, no, we give you twice as much as the next guy. I don't want twice as much, because now my cat or dog has to break down that protein with their liver and their kidneys, and it's basically going to end up getting converted over to fat, which is my dog doesn't need usually. So that's just dumb. Just feed them the optimal amount of protein, and that's all they need, then all the other nutrients. So all this protein insanity, the way I counter it is, let's look at the protein level, see if is it high, is it low, and then let's look at the mineral content, and then we know right away. We don't even have to look at an ingredient panel. We know the quality that that food company is putting into that food. Is it healthy? Well, if the mineral levels are low, excuse me, let's see if we can do this. It's going to be very healthy, and it tells me the quality of their protein is very high quality. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is look at protein levels. And I've explained this in other videos. I always call the food companies. You're not going to find this usually not on their websites. Sometimes I do, but I call them and I want to know the protein level in grams per 100 kcals. In other words, on a per calorie basis, how much protein will that animal get for every calorie of food they eat? That's kind of it's the most accurate, precise way to compare apples to apples, and that's why I only do it this way. I don't use percentages. Please don't look at the guaranteed analysis on the bag or can. That is just minimums and maximums and doesn't tell you anything. Well, most of the stuff on that the marketers put in front of you don't tell you anything. You have to do work to actually get the facts. So anyway, so here's the protein levels in these two diets, three diets. And the first thing I notice, if you might remember from the other foods, look at these protein levels. These are markedly lower than what you're used to seeing. What did we see in Origin and Taste of the Wild and Blue Buffalo? We saw 8 or 9 grams of protein per 100 kcals. Where here we see Royal Canin Adult is at 6.4. ProPlan's a little higher, they get up to 7.2, and Science Diet actually goes a little lower at 5.9. But in general, it is kind of interesting, and I hate to keep lumping these three food companies together, but it's probably only because of all the BS I've heard on other channels, how bad and evil these three companies are. But it is interesting, these three companies, if you added up the board certified veterinarians, nutritionists that work for these three companies, it's probably, I'm going to guess, over 90% of the pet foods out there. So in other words, these three probably have 90% of the nutritionists that are out that are working for a food company versus what the other 2,000 that don't. Okay, it's that simple. And again, if I look at the research, I look at peer-reviewed studies. I mean, again, I have my likes and dislikes of all three companies, things I like and don't like about all three, but you can't fault them for the money, the millions, and I'm saying millions of dollars of research they've put in, and most of what we know today is because of them. So if those guys and gals, actually mostly gals these days, I think, if they are kind of in general going with protein levels around what 6 to 7 grams, I'm gonna bank my money on that's an optimal protein level. We know they're not deficient. We know they wouldn't be. I mean, they've done the research, but they don't buy into this high protein. Your dog's a wolf. He needs more protein. That's all he needs is just give him meat. You know, the whole raw thing, whatever. They don't buy into it, and these are the board certified nutritionists. Now, I realize we live in a horrible time. I mean, after COVID, how do you trust anybody? The government's dishonest and corrupt. The science is for sale. So you look at these three companies, and sure, every one of these nutritionists is just copping out or being bought off to do evil things. Well, I can only speak for Hills. I've met these nutritionists. I've sat down with them. I've learned from them. I knew a few of them personally. They are just awesome people, and they're not what's his name, the guy, the COVID doctor there. Okay, these are not government scientists. so I don't put them in that category. Don't put them in the big pharma category either. They truly are animal lovers, just like you, that have their own dogs and cats at home, and they love what they do. That's why I loved representing their research for 34 years. So that protein level, I just want to point out, when we looked at other foods, Origin, Taste of the Wild, Blue Buffalo, Wellness, what did we find? Much higher protein levels. So that's the first step. Okay, let's look at the mineral content that's delivered by those protein levels. Okay, so here we have the protein levels, and I've added the calcium and phosphorus levels underneath, so we can take a look and see what do we got here. What's the quality and value that we're getting from these food companies? So Royal Canin, 6.4 grams of protein. There's their calcium phosphorus, 310 over 210. And like anything, you know, unless you've been jotting down and memorizing the numbers of my videos, any number doesn't really make much sense to you till you compare it to other numbers. So here's Purina ProPlan, that 7.2, so it's a little higher in protein, and what do we find? Well, their calcium and phosphorus number is higher as well. Again, generally, if you raise your protein, you're going to be raising those minerals as well, and then you have to really work hard to use really quality protein sources to drive those mineral numbers back down again. So we see there's a big difference in the calcium and phosphorus level in ProPlan versus Royal Canin, partly due to the protein, but partly due because the company is trying to keep those mineral levels lower, what I would consider safer and healthier for your dog. Okay, so Royal Canin's kind of winning here. If we go over to Science Diet, we see Science Diet again, they have 5.9 grams of protein, so they're the lowest of the three. But look at their mineral content. Look at the calcium and phosphorus level. And remember, this is not deficient. This level here, people have asked me, you know, what are the ranges? I have to look in the textbooks, or maybe ask Dr. Ray if she knows, but I know the textbooks show the ranges for percentage of nutrients. again, as I've explained in the beginning, I really like grams and milligrams per 100 kcals. I don't know if there's a range in any of the textbooks for that, but I need to delve into that a little bit and look. But I can tell you right now, just looking at these numbers right here, these big three with all the nutrition research behind them, I got to say a great range would be starting with Science Diet. I've never seen anything as low as Science Diet, adult. Take that 239 over 191 and then go up to that 310, 210 of Royal Canin. That's quite a gap. That's quite a range. But considering those two companies have done more research into nutrition and have more board certified nutritionists and chemists and all, I'm going to give them a little benefit of the doubt and say, hey, there's a good safe range that I would probably want to keep my pet in. Excuse me. I'm trying to keep my voice here with this cold, and I'm actually, my daughter-in-law is expecting, so she was drinking non-alcoholic Guinness, so she left a few, and so I'm drinking this to soothe my throat here, and non-alcoholic Guinness really isn't cutting it. Maybe it should be some warm tea or at least some beer with some alcohol in it. I don't know, but anyway, I'm trying here. So anyway, if we look at this, get back to the subject here, I think that's a great range if you're looking for a diet and you call them and you get the information. I really love the idea of using the 239 over 191 as high as 310 over 210 for Royal Canin. That gives you quite a gap in there. And again, avoids those real high numbers. And again, maybe I'll throw a popular brand up here that maybe I could even find it right here so I don't even have to edit. Maybe we could just go, yeah, here's a good example, and I'll make sure I put it on the screen. But Blue Buffalo is 9.6 grams of protein, okay? 9.6 grams of protein when here's the experts not even near that, okay? What's the reason? There's a reason for that. If you look at their calcium and phosphorus, 480 over 320, okay? So 480 over 320, way out of range. Why? You tell me. I mean, anybody wants to try. Oh, because dogs are wolves. Well, okay, here's a good way to try to show you how a nutritionist tries to be proactive and keeping your pet healthy. Let me try to explain it this way. You've got a 6-7-year-old dog, medium size, and he gets diagnosed with kidney disease, okay? We don't really know the cause. You can't blame a diet for causing kidney disease. I mean, most of it's probably just genetic, but diet can definitely worsen it. So this dog now, after puppy food, has been on one of these diets for the last 6 years, say, okay? Let's say you didn't switch around. Most people don't. You found a diet, does well, dog looks good, he likes it, you feed it, poops good. It's been 6 years. Now he's diagnosed with kidney disease. 3/4 of his kidneys are gone. Any veterinarian looking at these numbers here, which most vets don't, to be honest, they don't go into this as much as I do, but they would tell you if they looked at these numbers, hey, this dog has had kidney disease. This didn't just happen yesterday. This is a very sneaky disease. Insidious is the word I always think of with kidney disease, and it's slow progression, and it just worsens and worsens and worsens, okay, in dogs and cats. All through those years, you had a choice of what mineral level you were feeding that dog and what protein level, okay? If it was the low mineral levels and the low protein, guess what? You were helping that dog manage that disease and still thrive, and the symptoms were delayed. If you were feeding one of those diets very high in protein, and excessive minerals that are tearing up those kidneys, guess what? You worsen the disease over time, okay? I'm not saying you didn't cause kidney disease in your dog. I don't want anybody feeling guilty or whatever. And if what you don't know, you can't act on what you don't know. But once you know. Now you know. Now you can act on it, okay? If you have an older dog, these nutrient levels make a lot sense. This is what's important. Where do you see this? Do you see this anywhere? Does anybody out there looking at mineral content telling you your senior dog or your renal dog needs this? Not at all. All you're getting is what? We have three times the meat protein of the other guy. Every bag has 26 chickens in it, or whatever. That's what's so frustrating, because nutrition is the nutrients, not the ingredients. But yet, that's how the marketing goes. So let's go ahead with these 3 diets. I'm sure you've made a decision as to which one you think is best. We could take the Blue Buffalo off the table, because there's no way I will ever say the Blue Buffalo is going to be among the best. That will never happen. But if you go back to the 3 of them, look at the cost per pound. Again, these are the big 3, the big, big kahunas, the big evil, the dark side, as one of video person said. Royal Canin came in at $3.34, excuse me, on Chewy. So $3.34. ProPlan was only $2.69, and Science Diet was $2.67. So ProPlan and Science Diet are basically the same price, and you're paying what, another 60, 70 cents a pound for Royal Canin. This is my first time looking at Royal Canin. I know people have been asking, so finally I'm doing one of the diets. I thought they had more life stage foods instead of just all their breed specific, so it was hard to find a medium adult diet. But I have to say, if you're asking me about Royal Canin, and I won't get into all the politics and all their other diets and all the other stuff, definitely that's worth another video just for my own therapy. But love their protein levels and their mineral content. It's not as low as Science Diet, but it sure beats just about everybody out there that we've looked at so far. So again, don't want to beat a dead horse, but if those of you that keep asking me for ranges, there you go. Science Diet's the low end, Royal Canin is the high end. Anything over that in protein and minerals, I would need somebody to explain to me why. A nutritional answer, not my dog is a wolf and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful. All right, well, the cold medicine's kicking in and it's going to make me loopy, and I'll start saying things I shouldn't say. So we're going to end the discussion right there. Again, between Royal Canin, ProPlan, and Science Diet, I'm sorry, Science Diet still impresses me the most with their nutrient numbers and what they do to be proactive and help reduce the risk of disease and keep your pet healthy. But Royal Canin, for all the reasons I don't like Mars, and we can get back into that, but I won't. I got to say that's probably the second best diet we've seen with all the comparisons we've done, right? So I don't know if it's worth the money. It's pretty darn expensive. But there you go. There's the numbers. The nutrients tell the story. As Dr. Ray said one time, ingredients lie and nutrients tell the story and tell the truth. And that is absolutely true. That is not going to change. And it seems that pet food marketers are just going to lie more and more about ingredients, and who knows what the next fad's going to be. But now my air conditioning is turning on, so now the sound is going to be terrible. So that's my exit signal. So good night.